So I've been thinking about this idea for a couple of weeks now, and at first I couldn't work it out. I've spoken about the Content Onion, I've spoken about Content Plus, and there was another part to this puzzle in the content puzzle that I really wanted to get across to you. It hit me the other day. This episode of Get Doing Things is called Content Satellites, and let me share the idea with you. It's probably going to blow your mind. Maybe not. By the way, I am in full lockdown mode now. I've got a massive beard if you're watching this on YouTube. My hair is too long. I'm starting to look a very big mess. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's actually get to the episode. So this is Content Satellites, and this is the Get Doing Things podcast / YouTube. Here we go. So what do I mean by content satellites? Well, when we're making content, we usually have this kind of separation between the things that we're doing. We might have a blog post, we might be doing blogging, we might have an email newsletter or something like that. We might also have a YouTube channel, we might have a Twitter account, and we might have Facebook or LinkedIn or all those other things. And they kind of all don't slot together. They're all sporadic, they're all separate, and you're probably attacking them in a separate manner too. You're probably doing Twitter and it's got no relation to LinkedIn and it's got no relation to YouTube, etc, etc, etc. Or if you're being a really bad person, you're only doing a blog or you're only doing an email letter and you're not sharing that content across other platforms. I spoke about this a lot in the Content Onion video and the Content Plus video, which shares a strategy for making lots and lots of content out of one piece of thing. But today, I want to specifically focus on this idea of a content satellite. So the content satellite thing, where we're looking to get to with a content satellite, is you are sat in the middle of this content satellite, and around you, you have lots of different kinds of content. You might have multiple YouTube channels. You might have multiple podcasts. You might have a LinkedIn account where you're sharing your thoughts and posts and status updates and things like that. And then you've got a Twitter account, or you might have multiple Twitter accounts. And you've got a blog, and you've got an email newsletter. And all of those things are all circling around you. They're all pushing people back to you because they want to learn more about you, because they've seen your email newsletter or they've seen this really cool thing you've been doing on Instagram. So the idea with this is that we don't approach each individual content platform as a separate entity. We look at them all and we think about, right, how can I connect all of these together into a gigantic satellite that orbits around you? I think satellites orbit, don't they? Anyway, so that's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to a content satellite. But I can already hear you saying, Craig, why do we need a content satellite? Well, there's a very good reason for this. And I tweeted about this today, the very day that I'm recording this. And it's this, 0.0001%. What do I mean by that? I mean that you might have just written a blog post and the likelihood of me ever reading that blog post is 0.0001%. Even if you send me the link, even if you came to my house, you knocked on my door, you gave me a post-it note, and it said on the post-it note, here Craig, go read this blog post. Even if you did that, in fact, even if you came into the room with me, you gave me this post-it note, and you watched over my shoulder while I went and read the blog post, the likelihood of me reading that blog post is still next to zero. And there's a reason for this. The reason for this is attention. We've all got so much stuff going off around us every single day. I tweet about 10 to 20 times a day, And you'll be lucky, even if you see the bell icon, even if you've got me turned on the bell icon, which I doubt you have because I use Twitter way too much. But if you did have, and you are meant to see every single one of my tweets, even then, you're probably not seeing all of my tweets. And it's purely because of attention. Even if you're getting a notification every single time I tweet, it's an attention thing. You can only pay attention to me so much during an average day because you've got an attention budget. You're having to contend with work emails, and you're having to contend with family stuff, and you're getting messages from friends, and you're looking at your own Twitter, and you're consuming ideas, and it becomes very, very overwhelming very, very quickly. So if I write a blog post with an idea in it once, you're probably never going to consume that idea, and it won't become anything. It's just like putting out a single tweet and you're surrounded by loads and loads of other tweets. I talk about this idea much, much more in the Content Plus thing, but this is slightly related to this, because if I only say a thing once, you won't pay any attention. If I say a thing loads and loads of different times over lots of different platforms, in lots of different mediums, inside my content satellite, so you know it's me and I'm a trusted resource, you're going to go, oh yeah, that's the thing that he was on about on YouTube the other day. And when I tweet it, then you're going to go, oh yeah, that's the thing that he was on about in YouTube. Oh, and he mentioned it in his podcast last week too. And then things start to click. If you don't have this content satellite idea, you've got the danger of this kind of thing happening. Someone saying, oh, that's Craig, he's just a designer. Or, oh, that's Craig, he's that guy who wrote a book that one time. Or, oh, that's Craig, I hate his Twitter. And yeah, I get that a lot. But if we look to do some kind of content satellite where we've got lots of different kinds of content circling around us, the transformation with people goes from, that's Craig, he's a designer, to, oh, that's the job, which is one of the podcast things that I do. Oh, there's Craig again. So they see me on multiple different platforms, in multiple different places, showing up with different knowledge as well on each different platform. Sometimes I'm sharing design knowledge, sometimes I'm sharing content knowledge, sometimes I'm just talking about life and the way things are. So on every single platform, I turn up in a different space. I've got Genius Division, the design agency. I've got That's the Job, the design show. I've got Extreme Production, the book, the email, and the visuals. I've got this podcast that you're listening to right now, and I've also got this on my YouTube channel, and then I've got a blog. All of those things all sit around me, and they all reinforce the messages that I'm saying over and over. I've spoken about the content onion specifically on my podcast, on YouTube. I've mentioned it over and over on Twitter. I've mentioned it over and over in my email. So that big content satellite that I've got going around me reinforces and makes the messages and the ideas that I'm sharing much, much, much stronger because I'm saying them over and over and over and over. There's another point as well I want to make about the content satellite idea. There is the content satellite idea where you've got Twitter and you've got your LinkedIn and you've got your YouTube all circling around you, which you absolutely should do. That's definitely what you should be doing. But there's another way to look at it too, and this is the idea of a brand satellite. Ideally, you'd have both of them. You would have you sat in the middle, and then you'd have several brands as well circling all around you. So for me, to take my example, I've got Get Doing Things, which is my website, which is my podcast, and a couple of other stuff. I've got the Content Onion idea, which has taken off on YouTube and Twitter, and I've spoken about it a lot on podcasts. I've got Extreme Production, which is, again, the book, the email, and the Instagram account. And then I've got That's the Job, which is a design show. And then I've got Genius Division, which is my agency. And all of those things all circle around me. They're all brands that I'm part of. But inside those brands is me, but the brand stands separate. So when we've got multiple brands in a brand satellite as well as a content satellite, things get super, super powerful because everything you do outside of the brand reinforces the brand, and everything you do inside the brand reinforces you. So you get into this virtuous circle of everything that you say supports everything else that you say and do. It's a really powerful methodology when you start to think about it. Otherwise, the other way of looking at it, and this is the mistake that a lot of people make, they say to their audience, I have a podcast, and you must go and consume the podcast. I am not going to give you it in any other way. It's a podcast. You have to listen to it. That's all you're getting from me. You're getting nothing else. But the other way, and the way that Content Satellites encourages you to think, and the way I think about this, is I think about it like this. I have lots of different things. I don't expect you to look at them all, and I don't expect you to consume them when they're put out on the day. But I'm here for you, and I'm here in your format when you're ready. I've got That's the Job. It's a video, it's a podcast. If you want to watch the podcast, you can go watch it on YouTube. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can go listen to it on your favourite app. I've got my podcast on video and audio too. Whatever medium that you want to consume me in, I'm there and I'm waiting and I'm listening. So I don't force you to consume the things that I'm doing in a particular medium. I let you go to the medium, pick how you want to consume the things that I'm doing, and leave it right there. That's the power of a content satellite. I want to just recap on some of the key ideas in this video too, just before I get off this podcast. Split yourself into different projects with a content satellite methodology to niche yourself down into an individual brand. Each new thing that you make elevates everything that you make. It also elevates you as an individual. If you make a brand, the brand elevates you, and then everything that you do elevates the brand. It's a virtuous circle. And then finally, the most important point is making a content satellite across multiple different mediums means that you are there and waiting for somebody when they want to consume you in their favourite format. That's the most important thing to remember. We are turning up when they want to consume us in their favourite format. We're not forcing any particular kind of format down their throat. I'm Craig Burgess. This was Get Doing Things. This is released as a podcast and a video. And if you want to find out more about me, I spend most of my time on Twitter. Go over to twitter.com, you know what Twitter is, /Craig Burgess, or go over to my website. It's just getdoingthings.com, and that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'll be back with another episode like this very soon, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.